Why do we do that to ourselves, Test rugby fans? That wasn't an enjoyable game. That was torture. I mean, for the South Africa fans, they might have felt a little bit better by the end there, but for certainly the All Blacks fans, that was a very tough watch. I think I've calmed down enough now to make this video. I will take a bit of time. I'm going to give it the respect it deserves. It's going to be sort of a little bit of a one-sided view on the game because I think there's more talking points about the All Blacks rather than the Springboks. The Springboks are tracking well. They did what they normally do, in terms of how I felt they played. And I'm going to try and avoid some of the refereeing decisions. I think there's enough to talk about with just how the teams played and the players played too. So look, let's start with the first half. One of the first moments there was the ref. He wasn't mucking around. He made a statement early. He gave a turnover to the All Blacks because South Africa took too long at the ruck. The first South African scrum was devastating. The ABs were lucky to clear. It was an All Black scrum at that point, and so was the second scrum as well. The South African team won the penalty. South African scrum won the penalty. The first two lineouts for South Africa were sketchy. I think the All Blacks turned one of those over. A handling error from both teams. After that, both teams very nervous. In attack in particular, I think the defence was pretty good early on from both teams. The third scrum to the ABs was a bit better. They started to sort of shore that up a little bit. South Africa lineouts, they were 2 from 4. After that, and then that fourth lineout, the All Blacks got the turnover and they were in a good position. But South Africa's defence was good in their own 22. Jasper Wiese, key turnover there, absolutely key. Probably 5-10 metres out from the line, and the All Blacks just couldn't move him off the ball. There was an early tackle yellow card. That was the first penalty by that point for South Africa. Against South Africa, Wiese was the culprit there. 3 points to the All Blacks, but they would have wanted more from that movement. Sevu Reece then got yellow carded. It was 14 on 14 at that point. Cody Taylor then got an HIA. I mean, there was just a heck of a lot of stuff happening, so he's off the field. Asifa Amor comes out to replace him or cover for Cody Taylor, and then a great break by Colby. Unfortunately, another South African handling error. Then Adi Savia mistimed at the ruck, and that was a penalty. Sam Cane turnover penalty. Both teams crucial turnovers. I think the Sam Cane penalty was when the All Blacks weren't defending their own 5 metre line, so similar to what South Africa did just moments before. And then a South Africa pass bad by Willie LaRue, and then a forward pass by Cortez Ratama. I mean, just backwards and forwards, no team getting any consistency or momentum. And then another knock on by South Africa. I mean, it was pretty hard to watch at that point. And then Cody Taylor came back. The referee didn't get his timing right with the Adi Savia penalty, in my opinion, but however, 3 points to South Africa. They capitalised on that, and a couple more turnovers, and the All Blacks finally start some good phases and have the ball in South Africa's half. Rieko Ioane drops it, and then I just at that point had to stop and pause for a bit and just walk away. It was just intense. I nearly gave up at that point. But yeah, South Africa, then it was their turn to get some good ball, and then it was a good tackle by Lomax and Cody Taylor forcing Lomax made the tackle, Cody Taylor made the turnover. There was 2 minutes to go in the half, so there was one last chance for the All Blacks. It was a line out 15 metres out, and then the All Blacks earned a penalty. South Africa were holding them out. On defence, just the All Blacks couldn't break the line, so they only came away with 3 points there, 9-3. At halftime, it was a very hard first half to watch. Both teams struggled on attack. There was a couple of yellow cards as well. Wallace Satiti, for me, stood out really. He played very well for his first test against South Africa. Ratama doing good things as well. It was very low scoring in the first half, and I must admit I felt that this game was going to be a low scoring game compared with last week. South Africa, they didn't provide the same space on the outside. Both teams had opportunities to score, but just weren't able to do it. I guess the defence was good, and there was key turnovers at key moments. Missed tackles at halftime. South Africa had missed 22, All Blacks only 5. All Blacks turning that around from last week. The kick meters to South Africa was 251. All Blacks was 436. Territory and possession was very even, so the All Blacks kicking a lot, but only to get parity at that point. And then the All Blacks, they'd feel a little bit gutted, to be fair, at halftime. They couldn't convert their opportunities. I thought they had the better opportunities than South Africa did. Penalties 7-5 in AB's favour at that point. There was better discipline, but not great in key moments at crucial times. So anyway, let's move on to the second half. Some good early play by both teams. Wallace Satiti made a good tackle break or line break. Jasper Vesey, his offload, South Africa's offload game was strong this week, and then Scott Barrett made a good turnover. Geordie Barrett should be kicking the long penalties. Let's be fair, I think Damian McKenzie went for a 58 metre penalty and it fell quite short. South Africa, I mean, you know, they can do good things with the ball in hand, and they built up a bit of momentum. Didn't sort of offer much for them at that point, but a few changes at about 45 minutes. Malcolm Marx comes on, and South Africa turn down 3 points and go for the line out. And of course, score Eben Etzebeth, try, no try, whatever. Ref encore. Like for me, I think, you know, the referee, how they say make a decision on the field and then it goes to the TMO. I just think just remove that. I think it just adds too much doubt. Well, it's too hard for then the TMO to make a decision. It should be try or no try, because if the referee's made some call and he can't see everything, the TMO's got to spend all that time trying to justify against the call or otherwise. So it should be try and no try. So yeah, look, I don't know whether it was a try or not, but yeah, phase after phase, South Africa patiently worked away, and then they scored a good try through Khaleesi. So it didn't matter in the end. And then South Africa took the lead 10-9 at that point. Marks making a massive difference coming on, and then there was a few early changes for the All Blacks this week. TJ and Anton Brown coming on, but there was those were backs changes. The All Blacks haven't scored in the last 20 minutes of this rugby championship so far. All Black, so Sevi Reece was offside. That was pretty unlucky, really, off a charge down. But South Africa got 3 points. The fact is, it was a penalty. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying he was unlucky to be in that position. And then Bowden, he was given 20 minutes. But yeah, the All Blacks, they were just looking lost. Tyrell Lomax, there was a turnover penalty, I think, and then I think he got a turnover penalty. The AB's got some good ball and good position, but South Africa were defending very well, and New Zealand only coming away with 3 points at that moment, at that time. Again, not being able to get a try. The All Blacks backline move, and then Willie LaRue gets an arm to the ball. He wasn't a chance to catch that anyway, so he gets yellow carded. Penalty attempt hit the post. That was the All Blacks penalty attempt, so Damian McKenzie had a shot. Couldn't ask for more drama, honestly. He hit the post. The South Africa were a man down at that point, but defending very well. And then Scott Barrett, ball to head. We call that a falcon here in Australasia. Unbelievable, dropping the ball about 5 metres out. The All Blacks players looking absolutely gassed after that when they had to turn back to defence, and they needed to make changes at that point. I noticed that Tamaiti Williams was still out there. So look, I mean, and so was Lomax, but I was thinking maybe Taylor and Vai should also have been sub, but then after that, Taylor and Jacobson make a great hit, and Vai then turns the ball over. So okay, maybe they should have been out there for that moment. But then the ABs just drop it from the line out. I mean, for goodness sake, so you can't write about this stuff. And then still, the All Blacks still had a man advantage, but they just couldn't do anything with that advantage. They just seemed absolutely lost. Then there was a scrum penalty against the All Blacks. So for South Africa, Lomax went down. Again, that for me, that was the moment that Lomax should have been off in terms of a substitution. And then the All Blacks got a line-out turnover from that line-out. But then immediately it was a ruck penalty to New Zealand. Lucky, or not immediately, sorry. The All Blacks got a turnover, and then a few phases later there was a ruck penalty awarded to New Zealand, and that was pretty lucky. They were in South Africa's half at that point, and I'm saying the All Blacks were lucky. Malcolm Marx deserved the turnover, but I think someone else in the South African team infringed. And then Damian McKenzie missed that penalty. I think there was about 10 minutes to go, and 10 or 8 minutes to go. That was a key moment. The All Blacks would have taken the lead at that point. That last 10 minutes, the wheels just completely fell off. Beauden Barrett kicks again from his own half, but still, why would you kick? You need the ball to win. There was a charge down. South Africa get it. There was a yellow card and penalty against Lomax for the shoulder charge. South Africa line out, and typically this results in a try, as it did. Sevu Reece, his only job was to protect that blind side, and Malcolm Marx just popped up and dove over the corner pretty much unimpeded. So South Africa scored the try, missed the conversion. But yeah, seriously, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And then, just to make matters worse, New Zealand kicked a defensive bomb. Damian McKenzie was about 5 or 10 metres out from his own line. We have a comedian here in New Zealand who is one of the funniest guys in the country, and he jokes about the defensive bomb. Here we are in a key moment against South Africa. In South Africa, Damian McKenzie puts up a defensive bomb which was contestable but landed on the All Blacks 22. The All Blacks hadn't been doing very well with the high ball at all in this game, and that's the option we go for. Anyway, the All Blacks just absolutely giving the game away. TJ Perenara getting warned for, opening his mouth. He needed to keep his mouth shut. There was 1 minute left. The All Blacks gain a penalty and at the ruck, and they had one last chance. They go for the line out, and then they lost the line out. South Africa kick it out, and the game is over. Okay. I mean, I got a little bit lost in some of that, but you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. The game just fell apart for the All Blacks, but here are my general thoughts. So, score 18-12, South Africa win. Halftime score 3-9 to the All Blacks. So the second half scoreline was 15-3 to South Africa. Absolutely says a lot, doesn't it? With the way the All Blacks played South Africa, to be fair to them, they should have won by 20 plus. Look, I don't think South Africa are that much better, but the ABs are nowhere near their best. South Africa can sit back though, they play to their strengths. They do good things, and they play well, but they just can sit back and watch the All Blacks implode at the moment. So the All Blacks, they were just as bad, if not worse, at the end of the game this week than they were last week. So they didn't make any improvements there. They made improvements in other areas, but not at the end of the game. And I'm, what are they concerned about the reserves? I mean, they didn't even use two of them in the end. Were they worried about that? And I think the reserves, I sort of said this last week, I think the reserves need to come on earlier, because you need to play yourself into the game at the moment, certainly with the inexperience we have. You can't just come out and make an impact. You need to be able to do, you can really only do that if you've been around for a while. So the South Africa have that balance and that dynamic right, that timing right with the men they bring on. The All Blacks lacked a lot of direction. They looked lost. They didn't handle the situation very well. It's a high pressure, intense situation. They just didn't handle it. They were getting very frustrated. I mean, they only have themselves to blame. When you're being dominated like they were in that last sort of 10 to 20 minutes, they were getting frustrated, but blaming the ref was not the answer there. South Africa, well, let's be fair to South Africa. They were South Africa, weren't they? They easily won the aerial battle. I think they stepped that up a lot. They kicked more accurately. Their line speed on defence was a bit quicker again than last week. They shut down outside space. There were no opportunities like there were last week. I think the All Blacks scored 2 or 3 tries. The depth and personnel, you had Grant Williams start today. You had Willie LaRue come back. Willie LaRue was a very key man today. I felt he handled that aerial battle exceptionally well, apart from his yellow card, of course. And then you had Damien Dialende. I mean, just that experience, knowing how to defend, what to do in situations. He's a big body, so he'll always go forward. I don't know if he got turnovers this week, but and then Khaleesi, of course, he could have missed this game just so easily because of his nose and requiring surgery. He really wanted to play this game, and he was a key man. I don't know if South Africa would have been quite as strong without him today. Malcolm Marx, one of the best players in the world, coming off the bench. But you look at South Africa and you look at that team at the moment and their mindset. They have got it figured out. They've got the confidence. Malcolm Marx, his confidence alone coming out on that, coming out in that game. South Africa were behind, I think, when he came out, and just owning it. You can tell he is not worried about anything. So, just incredible mindset and confidence for South Africa at the moment, and they are playing to their best. You can make 7 changes against the All Blacks 1 week apart and still win. Just very impressive. The All Blacks, they'll rue their chances. I'm coming back to the All Blacks, but they'll rue their chances they squandered, let's be fair. I mean, when you look at the missed tackles, South Africa missed 31, the All Blacks missed 19. And there was no All Blacks tries in this game. South Africa, you missed that many tackles, but still managed to cover and stop any tries. First half opportunities, I think, as I said in my first half sort of recap, that was the chance that was missed. The All Blacks needed to capitalise on. They needed 2 or 3 tries and to get a decent lead and get a bit of confidence and momentum. But South Africa just hung on. I think probably in a couple of scenarios, the South Africans in this game went for the line out when the All Blacks probably should have as well, rather than the 3 points. South Africa would have felt good at half-time, if you ask me. I think they would have felt like, well, we were lucky enough to hold on to a 9-3 scoreline. And then the second half was no better for the All Blacks. They wasted opportunities. It's like the All Blacks get into the 60-minute, beyond 60 minutes, and they flick a switch, and then they decide, well, I don't know how to play this game anymore. Leadership, absolutely key at the moment. If you look back to when we had our last best All Blacks captain and I guess the best All Blacks era or period, the mindset was different. It's like the mindset that South Africa have at the moment, the never give up attitude, the clear communications. We know what we're doing, certainly from a leader. This is, get the guys together. We know this is what we're doing. Keep it going. Let's keep fighting. But that comes with experience. Let's be fair. I don't think Richie McCaw had the best start to his captaincy career. I use him as the example, but Khaleesi's been around for a long time now. This is Scott Barrett's first year in charge. We have to give it a bit of he needs a bit of space, needs a bit of experience and time. He will get better, because you looked at him and he was probably lost for words at times, late in that game. The All Blacks are in a rebuilding phase, which is very typical after a World Cup. The positives for me, for the All Blacks specifically, Wallace Satiti played awesome. He might have solved the All Blacks number 6 problem. Cortez Ratama played very well as well. I think he did some good things. Okay, he might have made a mistake or two, but he'll be better off for that experience. And Will Jordan, I mean, we need to see him more at fullback. The game just didn't go his way today. And then the All Blacks have got to build some confidence. South Africa's confidence is sky high at the moment, and the All Blacks just need to keep building there. 2 games in a row where the result was the same. Absolutely just unbelievable. If Mackenzie kicks that penalty, though, if you take a step back, if Mackenzie kicks that penalty and the All Blacks then settle it from that kickoff, it could have been a very different result. But that one penalty was a pretty key moment. The All Blacks are close. But yeah, look, as Khaleesi said after the game, South Africa's been in a situation like that before, not that long ago, and they've been building for a while. So the All Blacks will bounce back. They just need a bit of time here. Until then, South Africa, they're going to keep top spot, and that is fair enough. So it was a hell of a test match. By all definitions, that was a test match. It was close. It could have gone... It could have gone either way to a point, but you feel pretty comfortable that South Africa, of course they deserve the win, but they are the better team at the moment. They know how to finish and close games out properly. If you've watched this video to now, well done to you. Thank you very much, and look out for the next one. Thanks.